Del Norte scientists. This is Alyssa Griffin, and I'm at Scripps Institution of Oceanography. And today we're in front of the Ellen Browning Memorial Pier, where we do a lot of our research and we launch boats and do other cool stuff related to marine chemistry. So I'm going to take you guys up to the Scripps Coastal and Open Ocean Biogeochemistry Lab, also known as the Scooby Lab, so you can meet some other members of the lab and learn about what we do. So overall, what we're looking at is ocean acidification and how it influences different coastal environments. So I heard you guys are learning about ocean acidification this week, but to remind you, ocean acidification is the result of increasing carbon dioxide emissions into the atmosphere, which are then taken up by the ocean and actually react with the seawater to make a weak acid. And that acid is causing all kinds of problems for various marine organisms. So if you come over here, I have a few marine organisms to show you. So all of these animals are calcifying organisms, which are any marine organism that makes their shell out of a material called calcium carbonate. So you can see there's all different kinds of animals that do this. So this is a little piece of coral. Here are some keyhole limpets. You can find these all over in Southern California. These are an organism that live on the sand called forams. These are little goose barnacles. You can find these on a lot of pier pillars and in environments where the tide moves in and out. And these are a bunch of spines from sea urchins. So you can see they're different species, have different colors. And when all of these organisms die, all of these hard parts basically get beaten up by waves and different physical processes, and they break down to make sand. So here we have a bunch of different samples of what we call calcium carbonate sand, which is just after these animals die, they get broken down into different sands. And in different areas of the world, different organisms make up this sand. And what we're interested in is looking at how ocean acidification is going to influence the sand, because as the ocean gets more and more acidic, it can actually react with the sand and make it dissolve. So one way to think about that is like putting vinegar on baking soda. So basically it starts to dissolve all this sand, and then all of these organisms like corals and sea urchins, they don't have a good foundation to live on anymore. So the experiments that I do in the lab is I take a little bit of these sand samples and I put them in my beaker, and then I take seawater and I put it over the sand in the beaker, and then I take these little pipettes and I actually bubble CO2 into the seawater, and that artificially drops the pH, which is the same thing that's happening during ocean acidification, just on a much smaller scale and in the lab. And then what I can do is I can see how the sand reacts with the seawater, and I can take a sample at the beginning and at the end, and that'll tell me how much the sand has dissolved over the course of the experiment. So what we're finding is that different sands are actually going to respond differently, which is what we would expect. But what we're really trying to figure out is why. So why are these sands responding to these changes differently? Is it because of their grain size? So you can see this one is way chunkier than this really fine one, so is that controlling it? Or is it that some of them are made of different materials? So are they made of different types of calcium carbonate minerals, and is that controlling the dissolution? So that's my setup, and that's what we do. And now I'm gonna send you over to our postdoc to give you a little tour of the rest of the lab.
Well, hello students of Del Norte High School. My name is Dr. Tyler Cyranek, and I'm a postdoctoral researcher here at Scripps Institution of Oceanography in the Scooby Lab, and we measure the carbon dioxide chemistry of seawater. You caught me at a perfect time, because I was just about to measure the carbon dioxide concentration of this sample right here from the Great Barrier Reef. The way we do that is we put it in this instrument, and it pulls the seawater in and adds an acid to it, which turns all of the carbon into CO2 and puts the gas through this instrument here called a liquor, which measures the absorbance of the CO2 at infrared light wavelengths, which allows us to tell how much carbon dioxide is in the seawater. Now, when I'm not doing laboratory work, I like to go surfing, but unfortunately, surfing can take away from my science, but not with this. This is a smart fin, and this measures the temperature of the seawater, the GPS location, and your motion while you're surfing. And this is a citizen science project that we're working on to collect data using surfers in the nearshore zone in Southern California. Right now there's about 100 of these around the San Diego region measuring water quality data as we speak. So that's what I do here in the Scooby Lab, and I'm going to send you guys over now to some of the students.
Hey there, Nighthawks. I'm Sam Kekweva, and this is
Ariel Pesner.
and we are members of the Scooby Lab here at Scripps Institution of Oceanography. And what I do in particular is collect hundreds of ball samples over time to measure and see how the coast is changing in carbon chemistry.
And I'm interested in looking at how coral reefs are affected by multiple stressors, including ocean acidification and hypoxia. And to do that, I've been taking coral cores from different corals in the seagrass and on coral reefs to compare how growth patterns differ in different parts of the reef.
Thanks for visiting our lab. And if you don't think marine chemistry is cool, then
you haven't met us.
Thank you.